Welcome to another demonstration of StraytWay. StraytWay is a navigation app I wrote myself, and initially for hiking and cycling and even sailing, but now I tweaked it a little bit so it can be used theoretically in a navigational environment as a backup system for VFR navigation, and perhaps in an extreme emergency also for IFR. But anyway, it's you can keep it on your phone. It's on your phone, and like today. And well, I wrote a little app so it connects to Microsoft Flight Simulator, but to the people who are flight simmers, you cannot use StraytWay with normally with a flight simulator. It's just I did it for the demonstration, but you're free to watch, of course. The only thing we need to do is to set up our route, and today we're gonna fly to Mount Everest. Yeah, Mount Everest, and then land somewhere into China, completely illegal, without any authorization, but it's a flight simulator. So where are we? Just click on the button here and zoom in, and then you see that we are at Purnea airport near the city of Purnea, and we're gonna take off to the east, and then we'll fly to Mount Everest. But in StraytWay, the maps are they're dumb maps, so to speak. So you can't enter a name. You have to go and look for the place you want to go to on the map itself, like an old school map. And in this case, the names are even not in English, because OpenStreetMap uses local place names. And in India, because English is kind of recognized as a language, they're in English. But if you go to Nepal, like here, it's in, I think that's Nepalese, and this is Chinese, so no more English. So you have to go and look for Mount Everest. And let's see if we can do that. Switch to the mountain map. And okay, admittingly I cheated a bit, so I did some pre-scouting. If you follow this gully, well, it's a gully, it's a huge valley, and then you see this going to the east. It should be Mount Everest. Gonna zoom in, right on top. So it still works. Old school skills. Are you still with me? Yeah. So, this is Mount Everest. Looks like a pyramid, really. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put our crosshairs right on the top, like so, and then enter or insert a marker. Now we have a little marker on top of Mount Everest, so if you move the map, we won't get lost again. It's always there. Good. And then we need a place to land. And as said, we're gonna go to China. I'm gonna switch the so the default map is more like, yeah, perhaps the human all the human features in the map, not the nature features, but still a lot of nature too. So we're gonna look for an airport, and it must be somewhere here. So if you in StraytWay, if you go to zoom level 10, you can see it at the right bottom corner. You go to 10, then you should see airports. So where were we here? Already put a target on Mount Everest, and oh, there it is. You see? If you zoom in, and you see the app. Can't even read the name, but that's not important. We just need a place to land, and hopefully it's simulated in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we're gonna land there VFR, only using a StraytWay. And the only thing we need to do is put two markers. So the first marker at the inactive threshold, so we're gonna land from east to west. I assume the winds are like we're now taking off from east to west because that's how the winds are. I hope it's the same over there. So then this is our inactive thresholds. Put a marker on the inactive and add it to the route, and then go to the other side of the runway. Again, put the crosshairs on the thresholds and add a marker. This is the active threshold. Add it to the route as well. So the active is the last waypoint in the route. You can see that on top there's number 2. If you go to number 1, the target line switches. Same, number 2 and number 1. And now, oh yeah, the last thing we need to do is to put in the elevation of the airport. How do we do that? We can also do that by using a StraytWay. Make sure we don't run out of fuel. Just a switch to the mountain map. And now you can see these altitude lines, and you pick one that crosses the runway. Zoom a bit in. And some of them have an altitude like this one. And this crosses the runway, so it's perfect. It says 4,300. Or is it 388? Well, so StraytWay works with PNGs. The maps are PNGs. That's why when you zoom in, it's not yet loaded in your phone. It's a bit fuzzy. But I think that was, yeah, that's 4,300. Perhaps make sure somewhere else. And this is 4,310. Yeah, so 4,300. So once we've got, that's in meters. But no panic. There's a calculator in StraytWay. So what we need to do before we can access that calculator, we need to go to the last waypoint, like so, number 2. And then these two things have to be activated. So the button here has to be magenta, the CDI needle button, and then you have to tap on the 270, which is the course of the magenta needle, to reverse it, like so. And now the little plane has appeared, which you can click on, and this is the and I already entered it because I had to try. So it's 4330, and we're gonna meters, 4330 meters. So you enter it in meters, and then you're gonna enter our pattern altitude for the VFR around the airport in China, and we'll take just a standard 1,500 feet above ground level, and then you click on the, and that was already calculated. So we have a pattern altitude of 15,706 feet. When we'll arrive at the airport. So we keep that in mind for later on. Now let's go back to Everest, because that will be our target, first target we're gonna fly to. So we're gonna make it our target. That was here. So the target line runs next, because it's now at the Chinese airport, at the active threshold. So you have to select the Mount Everest, just click in the neighborhood of that, and then now it's selected, and now you can click at the top and right corner, the flag, and now the target is set to Mount Everest. And it shows 136 nautical miles from where we are. And by the way, we are now at current altitude 133 feet, 133 feet, and that corresponds approximately with our altimeter setting in a Cessna. So it gives that altitude also a StraytWay. Okay, that's set. Now the last thing, we need to go to the autopilot of the Cessna and set in the altitude of Mount Everest, and that is just go to Wikipedia. And it says here 31,000 feet. So we'll round that up to down to 29,000. And we're gonna put that in our too far away from the dashboard. 29,000, like so. We already set the MLC, the heading, and I think we're ready to go. Let's switch back to StraytWay. I see that you guys gonna check you still see StraytWay. Yep. Good. Set flaps to 15. All set. And off we go. Rotate at 110. Now watch the needle come alive. Oops. That's watching StraytWay 110. There we are. Positive rate of climb, gear up, and flaps up. And already activate our autopilot. There we are. So you can have a nice look outside. Turning to our heading. And let's look back to where we came from. And that's Purnea Airport. And this must be Purnea. The north eastern part of India. Climbing away. So just bear in mind, this is almost sea level. We took off from 129 feet, which is virtually sea level. And we're gonna fly to Mount Everest to... It's 100 and... That's 100 and... hold on. ...137 nautical miles. Yeah. So we're gonna turn now to flying. Let's get back to the airport, the cockpit. So we're flying now track 89 north, true north, because StraytWay is in true north, and we need to turn to the left. We're not gonna calculate the difference. We're just gonna do that visually. So on the in the buck, the heading buck in the Cessna, just turn it to the left. It's about approximately 90 degrees. And now we'll start our turn to towards Everest. So we're gonna rise from sea level to 29,000 feet in 140 nautical miles, which is amazing. Now we're already let it stabilize, and then we can do the fine-tuning. So we're stabilizing now at a track of 6, and we have to go to 344. So we have to turn, I'll do a few degrees to the left till the difference gets a bit less. And watch the, we're turning towards the yellow arrow. Get some more. So what we're doing now is we're just fine-tuning our course to go straight to Everest. I'm not inputting anything, I'm just watching to let the Cessna stabilize. Okay, so now we have 349 and we should be going to 344. That's a 5 degrees difference. So we have to turn 5 degrees to the left. So what I'm gonna do is, in the Cessna, change the buck 5 degrees to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just calculate it with the differences, not with the absolute values of the degrees. Now watch StraytWay. We'll end up at 344. We should end up at 344. Yeah. There we are. So now we're flying straight to Everest. And that must be her. Hold on. Yeah. And we're lucky with the weather, so it's real weather. There's only a 5-hour delay because otherwise I had to fly at night. So it's not really real weather, but anyway. And we won't be cutting any time out of the video. So that's, yeah, have a look at the map. This is where we are. And you can see that the terrain starts rising here. And if we put our crosshairs at where the mountains start, and then at the bottom you see our distance to the crosshairs. So at 43 nautical miles to where the mountains will start. Yeah, and the border, that's this line here. That's the border with between India and Nepal. And that's, how far is that? That's 22 nautical miles. We're almost at the border. Crossing into and climbing to Mount Everest, the altitude of Mount Everest. I chose the morning because that has more dramatic lighting effects, I think. But we're in the tropics, so the sun rises at a very steep angle, so it already doesn't make much more difference than noon. But anyway, let's not complain. Almost at the border. 16 nautical miles to the border, so watch the left corner. And almost at the altitude of Mount Everest. You can see the altitude in the left bottom corner as well, in feet. And we're going almost straight to Mount Everest. How can we tell on this map? You see this that arrow? That's our that arrow that departs from the crosshairs. That's our direction of movement, our course, and that should really be the target line. So we're a bit off, and you'll see if we go back to the navigation screen. It's probably the wind that set us to the left. Gonna reduce our speed a bit, that we don't overspeed. The Cessna doesn't have a auto throttle. Okay, so we need to correct our course. We have to turn, how much is that? 5 degrees to the left. Gonna do that now. Hold on, I'll zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Watch StraytWay. That's 6 in the meantime. 6. So it's very gently the autopilot changing. And now again. So if you go back to the other screen, now you see the arrow almost coinciding with the target line. StraytWay uses OpenStreetMap as a map source, and in OpenStreetMap it's wonderful. They got them details, map data you won't find in any other map on the internet, honestly. And they're all for free, but they are written in the local language, so the names of localities are in Nepalese, not in English. In India they're in English because, well, English is, I think it's an official language of India, so that's why they are in English. But if you cross the border, it's Nepalese, and in China it's Chinese. So some of them are like this exceptional, that's the name of a camp or something. But the airport we're going to, yeah, it's all Chinese. So if somebody Chinese is watching, they can read the names of the city. But to us, it's not important. We only need to get to the. Don't need to know how to read to get to the airport. And this is our airport. Yeah. Now we're at it. It's perhaps best. It's in a long valley, and we'll be flying in from the west. So it's perhaps a good idea to start tracking the center line of the runway as soon as possible because of the mountains. But that's no problem in a StraytWay. Good, back to our current position, like so. And we're gonna hit the mountains pretty soon. Let's have a look outside. Let's have our button, our belly camera. And there you are, the mountains start right over here. And I think this must be Everest, but we're, because of the wind, we're pointing away a little bit from Everest. So if you go to the cockpit, there you are. So we have an 88 almost knots crosswind, and that's why we're pointing to the left. But StraytWay doesn't care because it calculates true north, so it's not important to StraytWay. If you go, so that's why we need to adjust. Yeah, in that sense it's important. So that's why we constantly need to adjust the heading, which now we have to go to the right a bit. 3 degrees to the right. 1, 2, 3. So if you keep doing that, it's 85 nautical miles to Everest, and we'll be there in 12 minutes. So it's fascinating. We took off from Purnea, which is a city at almost sea level, and we've been flying what, a quarter of an hour, and within 12 minutes we'll be at the highest point in the world. That's just amazing. You can truly be at the beach, ski in the morning and be at the beach in the afternoon. What an ideal city. And that's the Himalaya unfolding. And all these river systems, well, if you're interested, you can, the names are all in there. So this river, that's, where are we now? Oh, it's already behind us. It's further away. hard to see. We're flying over this valley, we're following this valley, but it doesn't really matter because we are at 29,000 feet, so we don't have to watch out for any mountains. We're in a Cessna Citation. Luxury mountaineers. Now watch our line. Watch our direction of movement arrow. It's almost perfectly parallel to our target line, which means we're perfectly flying towards Everest, which is here. And so we're gonna see the that's Lhotse here, and that's the wall they have to climb. They have to climb, go like so, and then have to climb this side of that's a col between Lhotse and Everest, and then they go. Oh, the climbing route is even. You can see the climbing route here. And this is the Kumba icefall, probably. The huge icefall they have to climb through, and then they follow. You see the altitude lines rise, and this is then base camp 3, 4, 5. I don't know the numbering, and then they climb up. This is the road to the Hillary Step. Ah, that's English. So that's already at 8,749 meters, and then they're almost there, and we'll be there. It takes them 1 month, including acclimatizing. We'll be there in half an hour. Wow. Yeah, that's that must be Everest, and so this must be Everest, and the one on the right is Lhotse, if I'm not mistaken. People who know more about this, please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, that's us. Still have a full, yeah, we're still with us. $29,000 feet. And where are we on the... Where are we tracking? Too bad. Oh, Yaku... Now it's in English. These towns are Tumlingtar. Let's see if we can have a view on that. Here in the valley. To the right. And that must be Kulumlingtar. And it even has a runway. Yeah, it's up. Here it is. And you'll see it better in the other map for runways. There you go. That's the Tumlingtar Airport. Interesting. Never heard of it. So if you ever go to Everest and you want to save hiking days, go to Tumbling Tar. It's almost like Luca. So if we switch to the other map, you see the names of the... It's more in English. Got the impression. No. Yeah. Make sure we don't hit Everest. We'll be exactly at the level of the summit. So it's a bit risky to fly directly to Everest. Switch to the other map. So amazingly, there's nothing showing on the mountain map of the Cessna, the terrain map, and it is activated, and that's because there's no threatening mount. It only shows mountains that are threatening, and then they turn green. And so we are so high that even these mountains are not high enough to show up on the radar. It's not really radar; it's in a GPS map. And that's Everest. So people who hike to Everest will have to go through these valleys. That can take weeks, days, or even weeks. I don't know. Never done it. I'm not sure I ever would want to. So that valley looks like the main valley up to Everest. I'm gonna see. That must be this one. That must be this one. I think this takes the yeah, looks like the road that people follow when they actually trek to Everest. And then Luca must be there too, the airport somewhere. So it's to the left. Yeah, that must be the approach valley for people that are gonna climb Everest, if they don't take a chopper. I'm gonna get my feet off the pedals. Right now we are over to the mountains have English names. That's Shamlang, dead ahead. So this is Shamlang. This here, 7,390 meters high. Gee. And that must be Everest. It's so now we don't even need StraytWay anymore because we can fly on site. So we're gonna use it just to get an idea of the mountains. And tell you what, why don't we fly lower? That's more dramatic. So I'm gonna put us at 27,000. That gives more dramatic, and it'll start descending. But now we have to make sure that we steer. Otherwise, this will be more dramatic, and then we can see people climb. This is the real weather with a 5-hour difference. Of course, at night, perhaps the clouds change, and the temperature, of course. Jump some faster. Wow. So that is hold on. That's the backside, the Chinese side of Everest. Yeah. So we're crossing the border with China. And that's Lhotse. So you see this, that's Lhotse and that's Everest. So people climb up here, that's the col, and then they go, yeah, that's this here. That's the col. Gonna turn the Cessna. So can it circle? For this majestic view. And why don't we take one for the there you go. That's drama. So it's kind of a pyramid shape, and the I really have to watch ahead of us. Now you go to the cockpit. Yeah, same, but still not much threat going on here. We are still high enough. It's only Everest that's so high, so we're not gonna watch that anymore, and just enjoy the view of Everest. Now this is the Holmer ascent. They tried it once, Americans, in the 1950s or 60s. So that's completely, and now we'll fly over the normal route, which is gonna switch to here. Oh, there is the Kumba icefall. So that's where base camp is somewhere, and that's the icefall. You have to get over that, then climb up that here, and then to here, and then to the top. Wow. We're heading back to India. So gonna change our buck and do one more pass. And that is we're flying over Nuptse. Oh yeah, Nuptse, that's also it's behind us. Nuptse. Mountainous, gargantuan, overwhelming. And those are these glaciers coming off the sides, of course. Now the altitude is we are at 20. Oh, we're all over the place. 27,000 feet. Without oxygen, and if you're not trained, I think you pass out after 10 minutes. And you pass out definitely, if you know what I mean. Apparently it's a rather pleasant way to go, but I wouldn't try it. The one ahead of us is the big one. That must be this. Also on the border with China. That's Makalu. That must be Makalu. There it is, Makalu. and keep turning back to Everest. And then I think it's about time to head over to China and land the Cessna. It's just amazing. Can't imagine having to climb it. Be there all by yourself with a bottle of oxygen, perhaps 2 or 3 pals, but if something goes wrong, it definitely goes wrong. Right, and that's the plateau, the Tibetan plateau, and I think we've seen her enough, I think. And we're gonna head for the airport. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just get us away from the mountains and approximately in that direction. That'll get us on track already. And then switch maps. Sorry, switch. We already put in the 2 points. Remember, a route of two waypoints. And we're gonna activate that route just by clicking on the plus. That's waypoint number 1, and now we've got waypoint number 2, and that's our runway. And it's we have to turn to the left a little bit, and I'm gonna activate it by opening this again. You have to need some, and now you see our rate of descent. We should be descending already at 3.6, so we're gonna do that right away. A rate of descent. Put us at, we'll do that later at the altitude, the parent altitude, but make sure we start descending. And StraytWay says 2,000 feet. So we'll put in 2,000 feet per minute descent rate. And then we're gonna steer to the airport, so a few degrees to the left. Yep. That's only 32 nautical miles away from the airport. But I thought we're gonna go to the left. We'll try to keep to the left as much as possible. So here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set our parent altitude a bit higher for being at the safe side. Let's say 2,000. Now suddenly we have a much steeper descent rate. And we'll start turning away a bit from the airport to get some more so what's gonna happen, look at the bottom. We'll be at we'll fly parent altitude of 16,200, and I'll put that in now. Oh, yeah, we're too low, 16,200. Let's make that 200 to make sure, and keep watching terrain. And at a distance of a parent altitude of 2,000 feet above ground level, our descent distance will be 6.3 nautical miles to 8. So let's keep that in mind. And that's all we need to know. Just watch the little arrow. Safe to start flying more directly to the threshold. So the yellow arrow points to the threshold we're gonna fly over. So what we're gonna do is gonna fly straight to it, and as soon as we reach a distance of take 10 nautical, so you got those 6.3 nautical miles, add a few miles for certainty, and that's the miles you need to go and turn away from. I'm carefully watching the here. The terrain. So I'm putting in bugs to the right in the Cessna till the yellow arrow points. You're pointing straight to the airport. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna fly straight ahead now because you see here it's safer to descend straight ahead. And even go that way. Remember, you're flying VFR. You shouldn't be doing this in the IFR. Though with a combination of the terrain map and StraytWay, you could perhaps do that. But I'm not saying that out loud. Okay, so we're really descending into that valley, and I'm gonna reduce speed a bit. Cessna doesn't have auto throttle. And we'll should round off at our apparent altitude, which is just making sure again 16,200, and we put in 16,200. Oh, that was a near miss. That's what you get. Now you see the yellow. That's our the magenta. That's our distance to the runway. So the center line. If that's at 6, we'll turn and start flying parallel to the center line. So watch the magenta. And we already do that round. It doesn't harm. So we'll start flying parallel. Yeah, my phone is okay, flying nicely parallel to the center line, and we can start turning to the right before that terrain moves up. And so we're gonna turn to the right till the yellow arrow, which is the threshold, is a beam, so 90 degrees. And then we keep circling it till we are at the approach course. So that's what we're gonna do. And I'm also gonna reduce flaps, our approach speed already in the meantime. I start to see why they chose to put the airport here. So we're flying a beam with the airport, so straighten out. And flaps 15. Good. And let's keep circling. There's the city. That's where you should be going. And the needles start moving. Watch it. So we have to turn to the we're on the center line almost, so we have to turn to the course near to 90 degrees. And then we should see the runway. Approximately. We're still 11 nautical miles away from the runway. So it must be somewhere over there. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So we can start flying. And at 6 nautical miles, 6.3 nautical miles would be our perfect descent time to start descending. I'll keep on autopilot and get us right on the center line. So we'll try and do the buck so that we in straightway fly straight on the, and then we're really perfect. There's a slight tailwind. Now we have our advised our descent rate, and we're green. And ideally we should start descending at 3. So we're gonna continue a little bit. And perhaps I should deactivate the autopilot. There you are. Otherwise we keep gears out and flaps out. Full flaps. We're really high. We're at 3.7, so we're a bit high. 3.5 is 3 is ideal. And just continuously watching straightway. We should be at 1,000 feet, and that's perfect. The only thing we need to do is to get us on the center line. Yeah, we're right on target. It's not too bad for an app that was originally made for hiking, which you can still use it for. That's its prime purpose. All the shops are on there. In enormous detail, and we're sinking through our glide slope, which is not good. So I'm gonna landing with a tailwind. Perhaps we're exceeding the limits. 500. But the glide slope indication is independent of the wind because it's again GPS based, so you don't have to make calculations with your airspeed or anything. And let's hope we'll. Whoa! What's that? What's that at the end? Something's wrong in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's interesting. Yeah, landing will be fine, but. Brake, 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 brake. We're gonna shoot off the... oh my god. Yeah, and if we cross over it, gotta give it full power. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah! Cessna can handle it. The four-wheel drive Cessna. And now, of course, we need to cut the power. There's the rest of the runway. Oh dear. It didn't give it enough power. This no doubt must be the most challenging airstrip in the world. That's what you get when you don't scout your Microsoft airports. I'm braking now like a car going down the roads. Wow, we made it! And yeah, it's not a hardened surface, I got the impression. But we're in Tibet. We're on the Tibetan plateau. And let's check what are the facilities here. Well, not much to see. Oh, so we have to turn here to the left. Now you can put, if you put your target there, then you can see, and you switch to meters or yards. I'll take yards. So we're 700 yards away from the where we can turn off. There you go, so the yellow arrow points now, before it pointed to the top of Everest, now it points to the place where we need to turn off. And you can already see where that is. You more need, you're better off with a Cessna Caravan than a Cessna Citation, I think. Hear the chime, that's the StraytWay telling us we need to turn off, and there it is. I'm pretty sure it looks more sophisticated in real life than this. There we are. So if you look at the map, you're right in front of the main building. There's a main building. Must be that one. So I think we're gonna call it a day. We're at the Tibetan Plateau at an altitude of 16,200 feet, which is 4,000 meters. No, more. It's almost 5,000 meters. It's more than 5,000 meters. That's those are interesting houses. Okay, let's call it a day. Sun's out, flaps up, and thank you for sitting this out, and I hope you enjoyed the sightseeing Mount Everest and India, Nepal, and China. See you next time for another demonstration of StraytWay. Bye bye.